Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Yak Gadget, for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com. Eastport Marina, on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, and fishing needs, go to eastport.info. Now let's get this show started.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Bass Nose Fishing Podcast, where we are constantly trying to keep our thumbs ripped up. Tonight, I have a very special guest on tonight, Mr. Chris Spencer from Utah. He came out to California a week or so ago and went out to Folsom for the Yakabass KBF event that was going on at Folsom, and absolutely swept the field with the Trail Series, Pro Series, and the Yakabass event. So we're going to highlight him and his tournament out here at Lake Folsom tonight. Can't wait to hear his story and kind of hear what he has going on for the rest of the season. With a big victory like that, I can only imagine his confidence moving forward into the rest of the year. So looking forward to just hear his story about all that. But a couple housekeeping things. So we got the Dale Hollow event coming up with the Paddle and Fin tournament in Tennessee. That is going to be on April 1st or April 2nd and 3rd at Dale Hollow, based out of the Eastport Marina. I'm really looking forward to flying out there in a few weeks and fishing Dale Hollow. It's going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait to catch some legit smallmouth. It's kind of hard to come by smallmouth out here in California, especially like the real smallmouth. So to go out to Dale Hollow and catch those smallmouth, I just can't wait. And to hang out with the Paddle and Fin family and get to meet some of you guys that listen to the show. Just really looking forward to that. My wife's also going to be joining me as well. So we get to spend some time on Dale Hollow, and then we get to spend some nights in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going to meet up with Chad, and we're just going to have a good time. It's going to be a fun time, especially going out to Tennessee. It's been a dream of mine to go to Nashville, and I just can't wait to head out there. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can find that tournament on Tourney X. Just look up Dale Hollow, Paddle and Fin tournament, and you guys will be able to find that. Or just reach out to me personally on @BassNoseFishing on Instagram, and I'll be able to help you guys find some info about that event. So really looking forward to that. Also, if you guys are interested in doing the KBF Fantasy League, you guys could go over to paddleandfin.com. We have a fantasy league all lined up. You guys can join that and hop in on the fun of just doing a fantasy league for kayak bass fishing. So I've been following along, and I don't have a team yet, but I need to hop in there too and get a team going, because I feel like I could do fairly decent. But it's just fun to follow some sticks in the game and see how well they do and see how well your team does. So again, go over to paddleandfin.com. You guys will be able to find all the information there for the fantasy league. Anyways, let's see what else we got coming up. There was a new event announced a while ago, and I want to highlight it a little bit, and I might have Marvin on here in the next week or so. But Native Watercraft is having their big bass like hourly tournament. They're going to be doing it on April 2nd at Lake Berryessa. So if we get 100 guys to show up to that event, which I think we might hit, I think they're going to be paying $1,000 per hour at that event for big fish per hour. So that's going to be a pretty awesome event, something kind of new. So hopefully California, we can just show up to that and keep that coming back, 'cause it's really cool that they came out here. So let's try to hit 100 at that event and see what guys cash some big bucks there. And they're also giving out 3 native kayaks as well during that tournament. So it's a pretty awesome investment. I think the entry fee is like $100. Again, we're going to be doing a whole episode dedicated to that here in the next week or so and give you guys more info. But if you guys want to check it out, you guys go to Tourney X and just click on like Native Watercraft Tournament, and you'll be able to find the California event coming up on April 2nd at Lake Berryessa. So I think that's pretty much it. Next up for myself is the Delta event for the ABA Kayak Series. It's coming up on March 26th and 27th. Cannot wait to fish the Delta at the end of March. I think it's going to be an absolute slugfest. I think we can easily see 95 plus both days to the person that wins that tournament. To just fish 2 days on the Delta is going to be incredible. And something new that we released a couple days ago is that we are now going to be doing 2 days of official practice, except for the OTI event, because the lake is not open only on Wednesdays. So we're going to be doing 2 days of practice for all the events except the OTI event and our TOC, because the TOC is a 3-day tournament, and there'll be more details on that coming up. But I just can't wait to go to the Delta and fish the Delta late March. It's going to be awesome. But anyways, I think that's pretty much it. Also, last thing is March 12th, which is next weekend. SoCal Kayak Anglers is having their membership drive. I think they have like almost 50 guys signed up right now, 50 anglers. They're doing a membership drive. I think the membership for the whole year, buy you into every tournament is somewhere around $160. And they're doing like $20 at the lake for March 12th at Lower Otay. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys go check out SoCal Kayak Anglers on Instagram. You guys can find out the information there. But I think that's it for the housekeeping things. Let's go ahead and bring in, I would say, Mr. Folsom, Chris Spencer.
I like that, Mr. Folsom.
What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
Good. It sounds like I got to come back out to California to try and win a kayak.
Yeah, I know the native tournament's coming out on April 2nd, and they got 3 kayaks that they're giving away that day.
I need an upgrade.
Yeah, so we're gonna be rolling out a bunch more information, but it's already live on Tourney X, and I know that they had one earlier this year, I believe, as like a trial, and it seemed to go pretty good. Again, like if there's over 100 guys, it's $1,000 per hour for big fish.
Wow.
So like the entry fee is $100. The payout goes more towards the hourly big bass, so it's per hour. So like the overall winner doesn't really win as much, but you could win a lot because you could win multiple big fish,
Yeah.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting. It's new, kind of exciting, and it's gonna be at Lake Berryessa, right around like the shad spawn / late spawn. So I think it's gonna be pretty good.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. But Chris, welcome to the Bass Zones Fishing Show, man. And I start off every episode with this question for all my guests. So, Chris, have you ever looked to your wife or your friend or your best friend and bragged about how ripped up your thumbs are after a good day of fishing?
All the time. Look at this.
Yeah. That's kind of like the we're not lying that we catch fish, right? Like there's no fish story. Like, look at my thumb, like it's completely ripped up. Even though there are some guys that probably rub their thumb to make it look like they caught more. But
was it a good day? I don't know. You tell me. Was it a good day?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's really good when it's in the palm too, because when it's in the palm, that's when you caught the big ones. But yeah, man. So that's kind of a little icebreaker to start the episode. So Chris, why don't you just take the floor, talk a little bit about who's Chris Spencer. We like to hear like what kind of kayak you fish out of, and how did you fall in love with fishing?
Well, I'll give you the fishing story first.
Okay.
When I was 9, I took a trip to Canada. My grandparents lived in Canada, and about 3 blocks from their house there was a park lake, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was full of basically perch and northern pike. And my grandpa handed me an old Zebco and said, "Here you go." And I spent every day, 6 days straight, over in that park trying to catch a northern pike. And on the 6th day, I finally hooked one. And I don't know if it survived, but I hooked it.
You don't want to put your thumb in the northern pike.
No, and that was the thing. I had no tools. I had nothing. There was another guy out there fishing that ended up helping me get it off and get it put back in the water. But
that's awesome.
I came back home, and then a few years later, I believe it was a 4th of July weekend. One of the neighbor kids was over and asked if I wanted to head down to we got Utah Lake, which was about 3 miles from where I lived, head down there and do some fishing. And then from there, it was basically, I think I was 12. It was every Saturday and almost every day in the summer. We were down on the lake, and that transitioned a few years later to fishing the Provo River, doing some spinner and fly fishing up there, and then it just kept going, just never stopped. So
that's
I haven't been able to can't put a rod down.
So did you ever have a bass boat before this, or did you just have a kayak right away? Or?
No, I had a kick pontoon. I went float tube, kick pontoon. Yeah. And about the time I had my second kick pontoons, kind of when I started getting into fishing for bass, and decided I wanted to get a fishing kayak. And when I bought the fishing kayak, I found out we had a local kayak fishing club. And then from there, it just took off. That was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I jumped in and started fishing that. And about 2 years into that, I turned around and bought a native Titan. And that's what I fish out of now. It's a 2017, 2018 model. Still
Oh,
using
okay.
it.
Well, that'll be perfect for you to go to the native tournament. You're in a native, and
Yeah,
for you to win a
need an
new
upgrade.
native. Yeah.
Yep, need an upgrade.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. So you used to do float tube, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, me
Yep.
too, dude. I did it for like 9 or 10 years. I loved it. Loved
But that
every
was
minute.
it fit Utah. I mean, we were known for trout fishing, not bass fishing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, bass was just kind of an incidental for most people.
Yeah.
And it's starting to become more and more popular here, and we actually have some pretty decent lakes for it. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I was into float tubing just because it got me off the shore first. Second, I was able to kind of sneak into like some cool ponds that you can't really
yep.
get to at all. And you can't even really drag a kayak back there. So I would just take my tube in there and just go fish a couple honey holes and just slam and just fall in love with bass fishing. I only thought bass ate a 6-inch MM3 roboworm for about 5 years.
Hey, I was a drop shot
Texas
guy,
rig,
just a drop
Texas
shot
rig.
guy for a year.
I was a Texas rig guy for literally probably 5 or 6 years. I thought guys that caught them on anything else were just like bass pros, and my confidence was the Texas rig.
Yeah, I pick something new every year to sit and learn, so I can kind of get
Yeah,
a good revolving door of baits to throw.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so 4 or 5 years ago, you get into the kayak scene. You got a native Titan 12 or
Yep,
Titan 12?
13 and a half. Yep, 13.
13 and a half. Okay, the big
Yep,
one. Dang.
yep, the big one. It was a closeout deal, and the 12 that I wanted had already sold. But this was such a good deal, I decided I'd go with the bigger one and went with it,
Nice.
and I'm glad I did.
So, do you have it motorized at all, or
Yep,
what
yep.
do
Got
you?
a bow mount XI3 on the front of it.
There you go. Smart man.
So, yeah, it's my one man bass boat.
Heck yeah. What kind of graphs do you run?
I run Humminbird Solex.
Okay.
So I'm a Humminbird guy. I did a lot of ice fishing too, and I
Yeah.
started out Humminbird with ice fishing, and I think it was a 525 model,
Wow.
and then I went to from there up to another one, then to small like Helix 5,
Yeah.
and then I actually converted that over when I started kayak fishing. Started using that, and
Yeah.
then I jumped over to another brand for about 2 years,
Uh-huh.
but just didn't have the same confidence with it like I did with Humminbird. You know,
Yeah,
Humminbird, I knew what I was looking at,
for sure.
and I jumped back over to the Solex, and then of course I added on the 360 later, and maybe down
Nice.
the road we'll do Mega Live.
There
You
you
know, if we
go.
can ever get one in our hands. But
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, that's
So
what I run now, and I love it.
what size Solix do you have?
A 10-inch.
10-inch. There you
I
go.
wish it was 12.
And then when you have the 12, you wish it was like a 16.
Yeah, it was a little bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm running two HDS Live 7s. So I got kind of 14 inches, but they're two 7s. And I love it, dude. I got the active target on there, and it's definitely helped my game for sure, especially offshore.
Yep. Definitely learned how to use them and read them.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's huge. I mean, I listened to your when you were on with Chad. I listened to some of your stuff when you were on with Chad the other night, and it's just so cool to hear guys pick apart and like talk about how they fish offshore, because I feel like in kayak fishing, like there are a lot of guys that really understand the offshore game, but there's also a lot of guys that don't, which is why I really like being offshore. Like if there's an offshore deal going on, like that's where you're gonna find me, like no doubt.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah. So unless it's like a obvious shallow bite, frog, topwater, chatterbait, like it's something like that too. But it's good to be versatile, but
Yep.
and it depends what fishery you're on too. But it's really cool to kind of see a guy, so passionate about offshore fishing, and that 360 I'm sure helped you out at Folsom for sure.
I actually didn't put it in the water at Folsom.
Oh, you
All but
didn't? Not
one day.
so
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
was
use it to
running.
like target
Nope,
rock
I was
piles or anything?
running. Nope. I did a couple of times, but I realized that wasn't the deal, and I
Wow.
went back to side imaging while I was moving around, and then kept it on down imaging while I was sitting stationary or just trying to move over specific spots.
Yeah.
So, and that was the key. I mean, I could have wasted all day with the 360,
Yeah.
but you're still isolated. You get that 360 degree around you,
Yeah.
You still got to pick that apart and hope that there's something in that range that you're going to pick up.
Yeah.
And it works great. It's just got to be the right setting. Like if I'm throwing cranks and I'm looking for a piece of structure to throw the crank to, it's awesome because I can just work a spot real slow and up a bank or off of
Right.
points. But for this situation, I needed to cover a lot of water, and you're not going to do that with a 360. I had to basically flip
Interesting.
over to that side imaging and just cover ground.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and so let's see. We covered all that. How old are you, Chris?
I am going to be 44.
44. It's cool to
Yep.
just hear like all the, different variety of ages in the kayak world. It's just interesting to kind of see where everyone's at. But so you've been in it for 5 years. So prior to getting a kayak, there was no tournament fishing really. You didn't co-angle or anything like that?
The only tournament fishing I really did was just whatever local events we were doing ice fishing, basically.
Oh, okay.
And some of them, depending on the little group or forum you're with, it was a month long or a week long, and then maybe a day here or there. And that was kind of the extent of it.
So I'm just picturing this. Okay. So after I listened to the thing with Chad and kind of hearing you talk right now, and the fact that you're so in love with ice fishing, Chris has some patience for sure. Because if you're ice fishing, you got to have some patience. And you're probably
I don't have that much
tenacious as
patience
hell.
ice fishing. I move around a lot. And then what's crazy?
You're cutting more holes than dropping line.
Yep, you're cutting holes and you're peeking and you're looking for fish. And if you're only there for a few minutes, if you're not seeing movement, I'm moving. I'm not.
Okay.
Fish have
that
patterns.
Just goes to show
like
how much I know about ice fishing. I don't know anything about ice fishing. I just thought you cut a hole and sit there. Yeah.
Unless you're fishing for panfish, but trout and stuff like that, those fish are moving, looking for a meal, and you want to set up. They'll use markers, right? They'll use a boulder here and a log here, and they'll move from this boulder to the log, then to the point, and then to somewhere else, and they'll travel that same path over and over again.
Yeah.
It's just finding those paths. And it can be a 10-foot difference sometimes on whether you're going to have a really good day or a bad day.
So what part of Utah are you? Southern, northern, western? What are you?
I'm kind of more northern. I'm just south of Salt Lake. So.
Oh, okay.
So
are you guys able to fish right now? Do you guys get frozen over there? I'm sure
we're frozen.
You're frozen right now?
We have ice on a number of lakes. We do have some that are thawed out, and then if you want open lake water, you head south towards St. George.
Wow.
So. Yeah,
so you guys don't really start freshwater fishing out of your kayak till like when? Like May?
We pretty much start our tournament season in April.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're still a ways from that.
Yeah. That's why you drove out to Folsom, no problem, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's kind of head into Folsom now. So obviously the reason why we have Chris on the show, you guys can see behind him, he took first place in both trail series, the Pro Series, and the Yakabas tournament. So let's kind of dissect it a little bit, Chris. Go ahead and talk about your epic weekend, man.
Well, I made the decision to fish Folsom once they put the Pro League together, and then realized I'd qualified after fishing the NC last year, and decided if Chad's willing to put the events here in the West, which there wasn't any at first, it kind of popped up later. I figured I'm going to go fish them. If we're going to get the opportunity, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You only live once. So
that's right.
I got on Google Earth and just started mapping the lake out and checking out water levels. And I knew the year before had been really low.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes hit or miss when you've had a really low year and all of a sudden you get a lot of water. Sometimes the fishing can be terrible for a while.
Yeah.
But I was there
a few years ago and it was low still, dude. It's been low.
Yeah. I started mapping the south arm of Folsom, but they didn't have all the tournament details up yet. And then when the rest of the tournament details came up and said we're all launching out of granite, I went, well, wait a minute here. I thought it's KBF. We can launch wherever we want. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
And no, it was the way the permitting worked, and I figured, well, let's just roll with it.
Welcome to California. Welcome to California.
Yep. So I did. I looked out from that launch and I mapped out a whole 3-mile stretch. I think it was a 3-mile stretch.
So did you go
up? Yep, I went up first. Yeah. Yep, went up, and I got there Wednesday night with about 3 or 4 hours that I figured I could get on the water. And I got on the water and was like, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was. Not even close. And then you throw spots on top of it. We don't have spots here in Utah.
Okay.
I've caught them other places, but spots are just different anyway.
Yeah.
And once I realized it was different, I just kind of started mapping. I thought the water was going to be a little warmer for some reason. It's
Yeah.
California, right?
Yeah. Not yet.
So, but I realized real quick that the fish weren't going to be where I was thinking they were going to be. I mean, I thought, main lake points to secondary points heading to the back of coves, but not at the back yet. And they just weren't, they weren't there.
Yeah.
And so I made a few phone calls, talked to a buddy a little bit about it, and just decided I'm just going to go cover water. What else can I do at this point? I just got to cover water and locate. That's
Yeah.
always one of the hardest things to do sometimes, is realize it's not about picking the pole up the whole time. You've got to graft and find where you need to be. And that's
Yeah.
what I did. I graphed that next day, that Thursday, I grafted over 14 miles of water.
Heck
And
yeah.
I did throw a little bit, and I caught 2 fish. So I did pick up a couple of fish, but there wasn't enough. It wasn't as often as enough with the pattern I was looking for that I was willing to stick with it. And I did find a school of fish, but they were a little finicky. They weren't really active, and I wasn't even 100% sure they were even bass. Really, they looked more like stripers, on the screen.
Yeah.
And so I just left that alone. I graphed, I don't know how many balls of bait,
Oh yeah.
no fish underneath them, and that's just not, that's not what I'm used to. I'm used to, if you can
And the
find
bait
balls
there
of
is
bait.
the bait there is like super micro.
Yeah,
It's like
can be,
smelt. It's like smelt.
yeah.
Like that's like what I noticed when I was there. It's like literally like the size
Yeah.
of like this.
Yeah, you got to get those little mini cranks if you want to catch
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't find what I wanted underneath them, and so Friday I just picked a whole nother stretch to go on graft, and it was later in the morning, and I had found a couple of fish. They weren't active; they were just kind of cold. They
Yeah.
looked like they were cold. Looked like they were coming up out of some deep water. But I grafted over another spot that looked like, I picked a mark up and it looked active, and I knew when I saw the mark it was a bass. I mean, there was no question.
Yeah.
And I dropped on it, and as the drop shot went down, that fish turned and came up, and it was game on. And then I dropped the drop shot down again on another mark right afterwards, and it started heading up. And I didn't hook the fish. I just said, nope, we're backing off. Not even gonna take a chance at burning a spot. And I left it. I'm like, I'm just gonna come here. I didn't really look at anything else with the spot. I did pull my map up just to verify what I was looking at, to kind of get an idea that if it was going to play out most of the day or not. And I thought it was going to, and I backed off. And then that's where I went tournament morning. I hit that spot and it started off quick.
Do you want to say what bait you were dropping?
Well,
you don't have to.
Yeah. The first bait I dropped was a drop shot. I did do a drop shot first, and I hooked my first fish, and that was just a little Z-Man drop shot bait. And I decided right there, that fish was active. Let's throw this other bait and see if these fish are going to hit it, because I thought it was going to fish better than a drop shot anyway. And it was just a donkey rig. It was 2 Neds rigged on a donkey rig, just like you would a double fluke. And
when I heard you tell that to Chad, I was like, no way.
Yeah.
At Folsom, dude, like, I don't know. That's pretty smart.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
All I kept hearing was, you've got to use light line.
Yeah.
And I'm not a light line guy, but I'm not heavy either. I've been the same for years. I run 8-pound on my spinning reels, and I run 10-pound on all my bait casters. And I have one rod that has 12-pound on it, and I don't switch unless I need to go to braid.
Yeah.
And I have fished with that forever, and I have fished water clearer than what Folsom was. And I'm like, this is not a light line issue.
Wow.
This is just a patterning the fish issue, or fish that are pressured. And when I dropped that donkey rig down the first time, it got absolutely smashed, and it was 2 fish.
That's crazy.
That happened. I doubled up twice with it, and then caught a single, but the wind stopped blowing. And the minute the wind stopped blowing, that was it.
I've never thrown that rig before, but when I was looking at it I've heard of it, but I've never really seen it done with a Ned. Obviously, I've more seen it done with like a double fluke, or that's what it's kind of known for, right? A donkey rig is a double fluke. Yeah.
Yep. And that's one of my favorite things, is a double fluke to throw around too. So
yeah,
the only difference is this is weighted.
How doesn't it get
30 feet?
So when you weight it, it goes above the swivel at the first swivel?
You do it just like you do the double fluke rig. So you got a free swinging swivel on the line, and then you tie your line to the other swivel, and then do one drop off of each swivel. So the one's free swinging. That's what keeps it from getting tangled. You might have to undo it every now and again, but a lot of times when you cast, it'll just spread itself back out.
That's
I'm
crazy.
undone.
So it doesn't get tangled that much.
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. Now I don't know if you'd want to fish it around brush piles and that.
Yeah.
You'd probably be retying a lot, but
Yeah.
open rocky bottom.
No, Folsom would be perfect for that. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
completely open pretty much for the most
Yeah.
part. And it's got good rock too. It's not like jagged. It's like round.
Yeah, it's all round,
Yeah.
polished granite.
I know. It's perfect.
Everywhere.
Like I said, I went there a couple of years ago and I didn't do well limit wise, but I did catch the big fish of the event. I caught like a 20.5 largemouth on a drop shot. And that one big fish for the trail and Yakka bass. So I was stoked on that because I took home like $2,000 for that one fish. But that was the only fish I submitted for the tournament. But I was like, whatever.
I figured most everybody was going to be throwing a drop shot or a small swim bait.
Oh yeah.
And I called it. That's pretty much what they were doing, and that's what they see all the time.
Well, the year that I was there, Bob Zhang won it, and I think he did pretty well this time. Bob Zhang, I think he did top 5 or top 3 or something. But he told everyone that he was throwing a spy bait, and everyone was just like, "What?"
I could see it. I could see how it would work out there.
Yeah.
I almost tied one on. I'm not gonna lie. I did check my box. I was like, I've got 2 of them with me.
It was just funny because everyone was saying like drop shot, Ned rig, Nico drop shot, and then Bob gets up there, wins it, and goes spy bait. It was pretty funny.
It's like a Lake Erie thing.
But just like you, like everyone's saying drop shot, this, that, and Chris gets up there and goes donkey rig.
The look from a few people was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I bet. And
When
not
the
only
cat
that,
was out of the bag.
a Ned rig donkey rig.
Yep. Yeah.
That's awesome. But sometimes it takes that little difference to win. And obviously it did,
Well, and it was my buddy. It was one of my buddies that gave me that idea. He fishes it a lot. He's like, you should just tie it on and do it. And I'm like, well, you're probably right. Pressured fish, you throw 2 baits at them at the same time.
Two's better than one, yeah.
And their brain just switches different, and they just go, that's safe to eat. That's what they do. It's safe to eat.
Yeah.
So I went with it, and it worked. It paid off. And in fact, the second day of the tournament, I went right back to the same spot, and I did. I caught a double my first cast or second cast. I pulled up a single, then my next one I pulled up a double, and pulled up a 19 3/4 on that. It was hard not to want to yell.
19 3/4 and another fish.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I know.
It's a while to come in because that's the one thing you have to be careful is they're fighting against each other when you double up, and with one that size you can't pull too hard because they're already pulling against each other and you don't want to break the knots. But got them in. Crazy. It worked out.
Because is there 3 knots or 4?
There are 3. 3 knots, and then your baits, of course. So 5.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of knots.
Yeah.
So what kind of knots do you tie on them? Do you have your own special knot?
No, I am. There's only 2 knots I pretty much tie, and that is an improved clinch and a polymer when I drop shot. That's it.
Yeah.
Only 2. And then the only other thing.
I'm the same. Same exactly.
I'm an FG when I go from braid to mono or braid to fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
That's all I tie.
But
that improved clinch I've used that since I was a little kid, and it's always worked for me, and I've never had an issue. So I've just stuck with it. I've never had to go to anything different. And
me too.
Why
same way, dude. Same exact thing, dude. I do improved clinch and then Palomar knot on my drop shot. For sure.
It's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. Yeah. So. Interesting. Okay, so you kind of walked us through. Were you kind of at day 1, or did you already get day 1 out of the way?
Kind of got day 1 out of the way. Day 1.
Okay.
I ran into some stuff later on with getting some stuff uploaded for KBF and phone calls, and my battery's dying on my phone, and I kind of just a good chunk of the day kind of went out of the window. I didn't.
You don't carry a battery pack with you, bro? Come on.
So this is the bad part. I had a Dakota Lithium 10 amp power pack with a USB port sitting in my truck that was fully charged. And I thought about grabbing it in the morning.
You have to.
But I'm like, I never run out of phone power. I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
You never know.
And I have a USB plug that I wired in my kayak. But last year I undid all my wiring and redid it and didn't wire it back in. So I was up a creek without it. It was kind of terrible. But I still looked around a little bit. I was trying to figure out where these fish were going when the wind quit. and because they weren't laying down to the bottom, they were moving to somewhere
Yeah.
else, and it didn't really. I thought they were sliding a little deeper because I knew they were still hungry, but I never did find them going deeper. So I'm not. I almost think I missed a ditch that was somewhere in between, somewhere, and they're just rolling over to another ditch to lay in. But the next day, I knew that the same, based on what I'd seen the previous days, that the wind was going to quit, except for day 2, the wind was going to change directions and blow harder. And so I knew the bite was going to quit around 9:30, 10 o'clock. It was just going to shut off again. And I already had it in my head, let's go fish. Let's catch what we can. When that bite dies, let's go find fish. Like I game planned that out. We're going to go, I knew how I was going to work the humps. I was going to go work, what I was going to do to work them. So when that bite quit, I went out to deep water first, to some other humps off of deep water. I looked around that, wasn't really seeing any fish. And I just started going and to the wind blown side, all the other fingers and stuff, and the humps that had steep drops. All the textbook stuff, I just started going up and fishing against, knowing that at some point I was going to run into full school somewhere. And it didn't take till an hour before the end of tournament when I finally ran into them. And I don't know if you heard before, but I marked an odd mark on the bottom. And the way it came up, it kind of looked like almost like I hit a rock. Then there was an open spot in a rock, and I thought there might be a fish stuck between the two rocks. And in the past, I have caught some big fish that have laid between rocks before like that. So I stopped and dropped down, and there was no movement from the mark. It didn't budge at all. So it could have just been a piece of wood for all I know at that point. But while I was sitting there, I was just kind of taking a break, had the spot lock on, and my phone rang, and I went to go answer the phone, and I looked down, and there was a new mark that came in under the graph. So I put the phone down, dropped the drop shot down, and called up a fish. And picked the phone up. I called my buddy, told him I'd called one up, told him it was going. He's just asking how things are going. And then I looked down again, go, I got to go. There's 4 fish underneath me. And I put the phone down, and for the next 40 minutes, I had waves of fish moving underneath me. And I was able to call up again with another good one. So it paid off. It paid off looking around. It paid off having the game plan.
Yeah.
Which is often, that's the thing, is if you get out of your head sometimes, and you don't have that game plan, you just kind of set yourself up to fail. And to give you an example, one of the, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I got ready to do a tournament on another body of water that gets fished real heavy. And we had a 50 angler cap. And I almost want to say we hit the 50, but I'm not sure. But I mapped out plan A and had 5 or 6 spots for plan A, and a plan B with 5 or 6 spots to work through. So I had a backup to a backup. And in that tournament, I fished everything that I had planned to fish. And I did well. I thought I did really well. And I was close. I finished 6th, I think, out of that tournament, which wasn't too bad considering. And there was a little mix-up with another buddy. He was DQ'd for a minute. And I was sitting in 5th, which gave me a KBF Fantasy ticket.
Nice.
And so I was all pumped to go.
Yeah.
And later the tournament director messaged me and says, hey, the person we DQ'd contested. He's within the rules. We're going to give it back to him, but it bumps you down a spot. And I was bummed. And the tournament director offered me his NC spot. And I thought about it for a second and went, no, if I'm going to go to the NC, I want it to go because I legitimately got the ticket to go there. And the next tournament, I pulled the first place. So I earned my ticket on the next one.
Perfect. Yeah.
But you got to have that game plan. You got to have that plan in place and a backup to that plan if you can. And if not, then you go out and do what you can, I guess, at that point. You fish thorough and hard and hope that you can find what you need to.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Well, I mean, congratulations. How much, if you don't mind me asking, how much cash did you bring home?
Close to $6,000, I think.
Awesome. And you were, obviously that's because you were in the Pro Series and both trails and Yakabass. Did you get big fish at all or no?
I got 3rd biggest fish. Yeah.
Okay.
And I wasn't even, to be honest, I wasn't even going to sign up for Yakabass. I was more worried about the other 3. And after getting out there and seeing such a small field on part of it, and looking at what I'd spent to get out there, it's like, I got to take a chance to make some of that back. And so I signed up last minute for Yakabass.
Yeah.
And I mean, I honestly didn't even think I had a chance against some of those guys because I've watched the standings, for several of those California tournaments.
Yeah.
And seeing some of those guys in the top all the time. So
like Damien.
Yeah, but it felt good. It felt good considering there wasn't too many people signed up in the pro to fish against a field of another 100 people and still come out on top. So
for sure, man. Yeah. No, it's always nice to just, especially like you said, if you're going to travel that far, you might as well just invest, in all the entry fees just to give yourself the best shot. Because look at now, you went home with $6,000 instead of Yakabas probably paid 3 of that, huh?
2, just over 2.
Yeah,
but it was I won enough that it's covering my tournament fees for the rest of the year. So
it's not a bad deal, right?
No.
Especially the Yakabas tournament, I think it was only like $75, right? Something like that.
I think I spent 125 by the time I got the Yakabas membership.
Oh, the membership and everything. Yeah. Well, that's awesome, dude. How about you? Let's grab that Pro Series trophy really quick. Let's talk about that really quick. Because that's a pretty when Chad
still in 2 pieces.
It's still in 2 pieces. Yeah, I saw that, but
yeah.
So
but it's pretty. I mean, let's see
it's
here.
pretty hefty. That's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah,
and it's all catch boards, right?
Yeah, 4 catch boards put together and aluminum top, aluminum bottom.
That's sweet.
Pretty solid.
Heck yeah. Especially to have that opportunity out here, and like I just love that Chad and I have been conversating quite a bit recently because we just announced a couple trails that are coming down to Southern California, and it's just really cool to see him continue to invest in the West out here. I mean, we got trails kind of all over the Western region, and it just shows a lot about his character and like what he's trying to do to grow the sport. And even though there was only 20 something guys at Folsom, I feel like his attitude about it was awesome. Like he's like, dude, I'm just coming and I'm investing. Like, let's just keep growing it. And the anglers will come when they see how passionate I am about investing out there. So
they already are too. The next one we've got a good Utah field going down. So
yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. I know it's just cool to see it because there's not a whole lot of national series out here anymore. Hobie's out and Bass is kind of out in a way, but I don't know. I want one of those trophies.
That's when I saw that trophy. My wife's sitting right here. You could ask her. When I saw that trophy, I called her and said, "I'm taking that trophy home. I want that trophy."
I know, dude. That's so sick. Even those other little trophies, dude. Like just having the coin and like those cards and stuff. Like it's just, I know a lot of people kind of talk about like, oh, the payouts are crappy or whatever. Not just for KBF, but like they always talk about like the payouts. And dude, honestly, I care about the trophies. I care about the cards and the trophies.
I'm not going to complain about the payouts because I've gotten a few other good payouts from some other KBF tournaments. So
I'm just saying, so many guys concentrate on the payouts, and I'm like, dude, this is all like pretty much a hobby for everyone. For like 99% of us, it's just a hobby. Like, I want to put one of those trophies.
I'd be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool, man. Well, congratulations, dude. I mean, Folsom is a tough place to figure out. It's definitely a puzzle for a lot of people. And for you to come out here and just kind of lay the smackdown on everyone in the whole state of California. Now you got a target on your back, bro. You come out here again. We're looking for you, bro.
I've got more than a target on my back right now. I've got a reputation to uphold on the next one.
Yeah, you do.
Because I kind of did the same thing 2 years ago when I went to Roosevelt. Lake I'd never been on and pulled first place. So
did you? Dude, I didn't even know that. That's sick.
Yep, and I'm going back.
I may have known that. I just didn't maybe put it together, but that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Man, you pulled it out at Rosie, huh? I'm sure Bryce didn't like that.
It was kind of fun to mess with Bryce a little bit. I gave him crap at the NC about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Coming back out again. So
dude, that's the funnest part I feel like about a lot of our West Coast guys. Like I feel like we all have a really good like morale. Like we have a lot of fun. Like they came out to the ABA tournament at Paris and they come out to some of the stuff in SoCal, or when we all go up to Clear Lake, just the campfire and like the vibes outside of the water is like so fun, dude. Like it's
that's the best part of it.
Yeah, seriously. And then bragging after about how you won.
I like listening to the sob stories. I would have beat you if.
Oh yeah, if I would have landed that one. If I would have landed that one. That's awesome, dude. Well, Chris, again, congratulations on your Folsom victory. So now, what is what's next for Chris? So obviously you're going to Roosevelt, but let's just talk about the rest of your season really quick. What do you got going on?
So right now I've got Roosevelt on the books.
Okay.
From Roosevelt, I'll head to Colorado, and then we've got an event right here in Utah in June. And then my next KBF event after that was going to be Clear Lake. And then in between all that, I have our local tournaments stuffed in between there, all of our local stuff. And then I am trying to put another one in the mix and head to San Vicente.
All right.
And run there and then head straight to Colorado afterwards if I can fit it in. But
I'll tell you one thing about San V is that it's a deep clear reservoir, kind of like Folsom in a way, but it has a ton of brush and a ton of quagga mussels on the brush.
I am actually I watched some clips of San Vicente.
Yeah.
And I have a little something that I really love to fish with. And I only get to fish with it in a couple of lakes here that it works really well in. And for some reason, when I saw that lake, I'm like, oh, I've got the bait for that lake, and I'm going to throw it if I go. And I'm excited about it to see if it'd pay off or not.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is this bait's not made anymore. So when I found out they weren't going to be made anymore, I stocked up on them.
And it should be like, because we're kind of in a later spawn this year for some reason. Like it's just, it's just not getting as warm for that long period of time for them to get to that 60-degree mark. So I think we're going to kind of be like post spawn deal. I think there's still going to be fish on beds. I think that
there'll be some. I think we're working towards the tail end though.
Yeah. Fry garters for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, and there's some really good fish in San Vicente too. There's some big ones in there. It was actually closed for a really long time, and it reopened maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say. And oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago, it was like insanity. But it kind of got tougher as the pressure turned up. But
I'm sure it gets a lot of pressure.
It's a really fun lake, and it's like super deep, dude. I mean, like the middle of that lake is like, I want to say it's like 170 feet.
Sweet. It's like a Utah lake. Great.
Yeah. Super deep.
That's what we fish, are deep reservoirs here.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not really going to find a whole lot of like shallow grass flats.
Yep.
It's like there's the shore and there's 30 feet of water.
Yep. I like that kind.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It fits you perfect then. And there will be 2 days of practice for that one. So it'll be Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday is the tournament. So, and the Pro Series and ABA is going to be doing it. And like I posted the other day, again, if you get into all of it, I mean, I did the math. If you did what you did at Folsom, you're taking home like $15,000.
Hey, I'd be okay with that.
So, and that's only if there's like 50 to 70 guys. So we'll see how many guys show up. I'm praying that we get like close to 75. That'd be really good for KBF and ABA. I feel like if we get like 75, that'd be good. So
it'd be awesome.
I feel like that's the goal. Yeah. Well, yeah, the place to stay. I'll let you know some places to stay. There's a couple of campgrounds right around it. Lake Jennings and Santee Lakes are like really close.
Nice.
So, but yeah, man. So you're going to the national championship, I'm sure. Right?
Oh heck yeah. Yeah. I've already got the Airbnb booked and everything. I'm going.
Who's all going with you? You have guys going?
I would imagine Cody's going. Cody and Cayman, I'm sure, are going.
Who's Cody? Cody who?
Henley.
I'm just kidding.
Henley.
That guy turned a rock star this year, dude. Holy
crack
cow.
Kid? No.
Jeez.
He is. He's awesome. I fished with him now for a couple years.
Yeah.
He was up on a reservoir here that we were getting ready for a tournament on, and he was in a little one-man type bass boat kind of a deal. Him and someone else back in a cove somewhere, and he hooked a big smallie, and you could hear him clear across the reservoir. That's when I first met him.
Oh my gosh. He's like the Mike Iaconelli of our sport, huh?
Yeah. He's a stud though. He's a good dude.
Yeah. So okay, so the national championship. Have you ever been to Kentucky Lake before?
Nope.
You got
I'm looking forward to it actually.
Ideas about Kentucky Lake?
I have a few.
You have a few? Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll probably be like Folsom was. I'll get there and it won't be anything like I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like my first year I went to one, and I went to Caddo, in 2019.
Yeah.
When I pulled up on the Caddo and all you had was walls of cypress trees, there's 20,000 cypress trees. What's different?
Seriously, huh?
I was a little
Everything
overwhelmed. I didn't do well that year, but
everything looks good.
yep, everything looked good.
That's how it is when you go to the Delta. The Delta. Have you ever been to the Delta?
Yeah, I've looked at a lot of that, and man, it just looks juicy everywhere.
Yeah, you can't like say like, oh, that looks better than that, because it all looks better than that.
Yep.
But I think next year we might have a KBF trail on the Delta, but don't
That'd be fun.
don't quote me on that, but I think it might be coming.
That'd be
So
awesome.
so the NC, and then so you just strictly fishing KBF. You don't have any bass tournaments on your radar or any
No,
Hobies or any of
basically
that?
KBF and then my state stuff, Utah, and then if I can throw something else in at the same time somewhere, I will.
Yeah.
So I'm a typical 9 to 5er. I've got another job I have to be to, So
Yep. Same here, buddy. Same here.
yeah.
One thing kind of before you go, what is your like most confident bait? Like what is like Chris's like favorite bait to throw?
It's funny. I actually thought about this the other day. It's like if someone ever asked me, I'd have to tell them. It is a swing jig.
Really?
Yep. Texas rig swing jig. Basically, just a swing head with a
I see
rig Texas
Tactical
style with a
Bassin
bait.
talk about that like all the time, but I've thrown it a few times, but I don't know, I've never got the feel down for it.
I love it. That
Yeah,
is it's one of my go-tos pretty much. In
really,
fact, I fished it at the NC too. I was pitching it against trees.
really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a chatterbait in a way. Not really, but it's kind of like that same little
Yeah.
vibe. Does it make a noise? Does it click?
No, I just
No.
drag it on the bottom and just bounce it
Okay.
across the bottom.
Yeah.
Typically what I do. Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
So
Works great out on gravel flats.
yeah, bear gravel.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I throw it in chunk rock too.
Really?
I've gotten pretty confident throwing it around rocks that most people would get snagged in. I've learned how to
Really?
pull it up to a rock and then hop it over. So yeah.
Sweet.
Yep. I've even got it snagged, and while trying to get it undone, gotten bit.
That's the best, right?
Yep.
So let's just do Chris's dream goal for the year and then like a reality goal. So what's your dream goal for 2022 for kayak bass fishing for KBF?
Dream goal would be to sweep another event in pro and trail for the points,
Okay.
and then at least get another pro event and get a really good stack of points before heading to the pro championship and the trail championship. And then to finish in the top 20 for sure at the NC would be awesome. And the ultimate goal is to make it to the 10. Why not?
Why not, right?
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
throw another Utah guy in that thing.
That's sick. Yep, for sure. I know you guys had two, right? Because Cayman
Yep.
was in there too, right?
Yep.
So you didn't go to the NC last year?
I did just this last year, but the one in between 2019, the one for 2020, when they moved it from March to October,
Yeah.
when it was down on Gunnersville, I did not
Yeah.
make that change in the date. I couldn't get to work out, so kind of
Dude,
missed out on that one. But
I was there, and I that was my first year fishing KBF, so I didn't get a chance to qualify for the NC before that, but I fished the Challenge Series Championship there. So fun, dude.
the last NC, my goal in the last NC was just to catch a limit the first 2 days.
Yeah.
And put myself in the top 100. That was I didn't have a goal higher than that because I'd done so poor the first time I went. It's like, I just want to go down and I just want to make that top 100. And I did. I made it.
That's awesome.
So, and then the third day of that event, instead of fishing where I'd been fishing on Caddo, I jumped over to Bistineau and fished an area I hadn't even been fishing because I'm like, what? I can't do any worse than 100th place. Let's just swing at the fence and go.
Yeah.
So, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
That's sick. I know. I hope they goes back to Gunnersville too, because that place was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I really
chatterbait
want to
bite.
go there. That's a bucket list place to go to.
The chatterbait bite was just insanity.
I'm hoping there's a good bite in Kentucky too.
I think so. I think that and a crankbait at Kentucky in that time of year is going to be killer.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see. We'll be
think
drop shotting before
in
we know
in
it.
my mind, I've got a couple things I'm playing out that I think are going to be really good to fish down there.
Yeah.
Especially offshore.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I can make something work out.
How long are you going to go before the NC? Have you planned it?
I'll get at least a week of practice in before. Yep.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy because some of those guys get like 3 weeks, bro.
Yeah, I wish I could, but I won't. In fact,
Like
if I
Eric
get two,
Brundle and like Russ Snyder's and like all these guys, dude, they're there like 2.5 weeks before it's
yeah,
just like
sometimes I think if I get too much time to pre-fish, I don't do as well. My kind of zeroed in that I figured out is 3 days. I need 3 days to put it together,
yeah.
and I can usually do well.
Hopefully, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right, Chris. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show, and it's been a blast kind of picking apart your brain and how you dissected Folsom and everything. But right now, as we kind of wrap it up, you can go ahead and thank anyone that you need to thank, sponsors or anyone that supports you, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. Hey, Humminbird, I'm looking for a sponsor. Anyone that wants to help me, go hit their Instagram pages up and tell them to come sponsor me.
There you go.
No, that was my key. My two favorite things kind of contradict each other on the boat when you talk about companies, because I run a Motor Guide XI3 and then I run that Humminbird Fish Finder, and those are two great companies. And other than that, it's a hogwash at this point. I'm looking for a sponsor.
All right.
But yeah,
Chris.
if you guys want, jump over and follow me on Instagram, man_vs_fishing. Come follow along. I'll post my updates throughout the season, and you can see how well we're doing.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and leave that in the description when this thing goes live. I think it's going to go live Saturday. But Chris, best of luck at Roosevelt. Hopefully, we get to see you maybe down here in SoCal. But if not, I will most likely see you at Kentucky Lake. That's my plan too, is to go to Kentucky Lake. So
awesome.
Looking forward to it, dude. So
awesome. Appreciate it.
Congratulations again on Folsom, and we'll see you on the next one, man.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Later, buddy. All right, guys. Well, that does it for tonight's episode. Again, if you guys are looking for anything in SoCal as far as the next events goes, make sure you guys go check out SoCal Kayak Anglers on Instagram. And March 12th, their membership drive is coming up. We got the Native Watercraft tournament coming up. We got Pardee coming up at this weekend, actually on March 6th. And so Pardee is going to be happening this weekend. ABA Kayak Series is going to be at the Delta March 26th and 27th. So make sure you guys go sign up for that. And that kind of does it for tonight's episode, guys. Again, Chris, thank you so much for hopping on. And here's a little outro clip for the show. As always, guys, keep your thumbs ripped.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You could support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.